too. An expectation there is for quarter-on-quarter growth of 2.6%. Looking at some charts and starting off with the S&P 500, we see that the price remains in a broad consolidation, and that's highlighted by the price whipsawing back and forth through those moving averages. In that environment, we've talked about trading off the levels, and what we have seen here is a bullish engulfing off support at 3,880, and the market's rallied quite nicely to our initial target of 4,015. Now, we do have a bit of a breakout that has started to fall in price trading above that level, and it does put 4,100 and possibly even 4,140 as our next upside resistance targets from the move. Now, if you're not already long, you might want to wait for that afternoon data, that GDP data to come out. If we don't get confirmation and the market moving higher, confirming that breakout, and instead we see a bit of a pullback, we wouldn't be looking at shorting just yet. We'd rather hope to see some type of bullish reversal closer to support to look for long entry on the S&P 500. Moving over to the DAX now. Here the trend is much more pronounced. We see the price trading above the 20, 50, and 200-day simple moving averages, and that is the red, green, and blue lines on our chart. So confirmation of that uptrend that is in place. We are starting to consolidate out of overbought territory at this point in time. That consolidation has taken the shape of the small triangle or pennant type formation. Now, how we're looking at trading this, the suggestion is it's a continuation pattern, but we do wait for the break. So we'd like to see the price produce a strong close above resistance here before we start targeting the next level of historic resistance, and we consider that at about 15,700 odd. In the event we have a downside break, we'll be looking at shorting, and that's in lieu of that longer term uptrend which remains in place. So if we do have the downside break, we'd be waiting for weakness to play out and looking at one of our levels to try to accumulate along again on that Germany 40 index. FTSE 100, still a pronounced uptrend in place. We do have a short-term consolidation out of overbought territory. We are looking for the price to break out of this wedge, similar to that what we saw in the DAX. A breakout we considered on a strong close above resistance here. Then we'd start targeting the high at about 7,870, and then we start moving towards closer to that 8,000 mark, which is channel resistance for the FTSE 100. Now the Seng, or the Hong Kong 50, as it's labeled on our platform, has started to resume trade after 3 days of lunar holidays, New Year's celebrations. And we do see that the index is trading at multi-month highs. I think it's about 10-month highs, close to yearly highs at this point in time. Those trends are confirmed as up. We see those moving averages again confirming an uptrend. Our preference to find long is looking for a pullback from overbought territory. We're looking for a pullback back towards one of these levels, about 21,365. Hopefully that ends with a nice bullish engulfing or bullish reversal pattern. Then we start targeting a longer term upside target about 24,500. Even if this level doesn't hold and we pull all the way back down to 20,100, we'd still be considering long entry on a bullish price reversal. If you are long and you're wanting to ride out this move, then you could consider keeping a trailing stop loss below a 1 or 2 day low. It's on the Hang Seng index. Moving over to some currencies right now. And starting off with the US dollar, downtrend has been confirmed, and obviously inverse correlation with what we are seeing happening in equity markets at this point. So price is now trading below those moving averages, confirming that downtrend. We have seen a bit of a continuation, not that much momentum on the move down, but it is trend does take preference at this point in time. Our next level of support on the downside being 91.15. If you are short, then maybe a stop loss above this high, 102.45. Might be a for the trade. But if we do rebound from oversold territory, we wouldn't be looking at long. We'd see where that rebound takes us. And if it ends with a nice bearish candlestick pattern, we'd be looking to re-enter shorts on the dollar basket. Euro dollar is an inverse picture where we see that we've gone from this longer term downtrend into this renewed uptrend. So we see the price trading quite nicely, getting quite close to our 1.0965 resistance target at this point. But also sitting in overbought territory. So hopefully a nice pullback towards one of these levels of support could afford long entry into euro dollar. Or alternatively, we do have a break and a nice confirmed close above 1.0965. Then we target our next level of resistance, which is sitting about 1.1165 on the euro dollar. Cable is a similar picture, although less pronounced, where we see this price has reversed from a longer-term downtrend into a short-term uptrend. We've just had another bullish cross there of the 20 above that 50-day simple moving average, but we are finding resistance at 1.2440 at this point in time. So looking for a pullback for long entry, or alternatively a break above resistance for long entry. We're not considering shorts at this point in time on cable, and our next upside target there being about 1.2635. Dollar yen. Also seeing the yen producing some strength against what has been a broadly weaker dollar for the better part of this year. Price trading below those moving averages, downtrend confirmed. We've had a bit of a rally from oversold territory. That rally looks to have petered out a little bit. So if you were looking at shorting this particular market now, I might consider having a stop loss on the close above that 131.06 level, and while targeting a retest of this low, sitting at 127.28. And if we get a little bit below that, the next level is sitting at about 126.53. Moving over to commodities now, and starting off with Brent crude. Brent crude is on the cusp of reversing its longer-term downtrend at this point in time. I think we can say there's a bit of a short to medium-term consolidation happening. It's somewhere between the levels 75.40, and that's dollars per barrel, and 87.70. Now, we started testing that 87.70 level, but we haven't really shown some daylight above that level. So we're not convinced that there is an upside breakout just yet, but we are knocking on the door. So for an upside, in the suggestion of a bit of a longer-term trend reverse, we want to see a nice strong close above that level, and then we start targeting and move back up to about 91.25 on the upside, and then we'd have to look at which level we could have as a stop loss indication. And I think from this point in time, maybe 84.07 could be a consideration for a long trade should we get the breakout on Brent crude. Gold trend reversal is in place, however. We've seen these moving averages all change direction and price trading firmly above them. We are in overbought territory at this point in time, but that momentum is still to the upside. Again, our longer-term upside target there is not that far away now, sitting at $1,980 per ounce, but we are sitting in overbought territory. So again, looking for a pullback from overbought territory to find entry in line with that longer-term uptrend that is in place. First level where we'd start considering long entries into a pullback, it's about 1.5, but even below that, we'd be happy to accumulate at 1875 as well. And if it does start trading below that, then we just start to reassess the merits of the short to medium term trend on spot gold. Copper is really showing the Chinese story, reopened economy, support for that property market. We've seen a nice reversal of trend there. We have been watching this one quite closely. We don't have the indicator on the chart, but you can see we're probably a little bit overbought at this stage on copper. Again, looking for a pullback there, but keeping a long bias to trades on copper with 9,770 as the next. We'd start looking at buying in the pullback somewhere around about that 9,030 level. But that's all the charts from me. I'm Sean Murison, Senior Market Analyst at IG South Africa. Do watch out for this afternoon's US GDP fourth quarter for 2022 data out, where the expectation is for quarter-on-quarter growth of 2.6%.